is an appraisal?
An appraisal is ordered through a third-party service where an appraiser will go out to the property to look at the house, go through every room, and determine what the home is valued at. A lender does not get to choose which appraiser they want to go out to the property, although sometimes we wish we could. At least for our company, it is based on a random pool of appraisers that have gone through a stringent application process to be one of our preferred appraisers. And basically, it is a random rotation. So when we order an appraisal, we don't know who it's going to be through, and we find out a day or two later. And so it's a random pick based on our approved appraisers. If you are getting a home loan, also your lender will order the appraisal. It is not the buyer's job to order the appraisal. And whenever the buyer and agent are ready for us to order the appraisal, that is when we will put in the order for the appraisal.
So something that I think is really important is for the lender to wait to order the appraisal until after we get through inspections. For example, let's say we're having inspections done on a house and there's like some crazy things discovered, like, I don't know, maybe there's a hole in the roof or there had been a fire in the attic. The foundation is crumbling and the house is going to fall in. Let's wait to order that appraisal to make sure after we find out what was discovered in the inspections that we want to move forward. And this is important because as the buyer, you have to pay for the appraisal. I like to ask the lender to please wait until I give them the okay. It's a green light through inspections so that if we have to end up having to walk away, it's not a bill. It's about $500.
Yeah, our current appraisal fee is $495.
So that could save you $500 in the process of buying a home, which that's a good chunk of change.
Each contract, there is an appraisal contingency date. So as a lender, we definitely do always keep an eye on that date and make sure that we can still order the appraisal at that point and receive it back in time. We work very closely with the real estate agent on determining when we should order that appraisal. We definitely always want to wait until the buyer and the agent are ready for the appraisal. They've gone through inspections, but you do want to keep in mind that contingency date and keep in mind the appraiser's turnaround times as well.
So next we want to cover what happens if a house does not appraise. Oh, let's just give an arbitrary number here. Let's say you're buying a house for $300,000. We have gone through inspections. Everything is pretty great. We know we've maybe negotiated a little bit. And then the appraiser goes out and the appraiser comes back and says, this home is only worth $275,000. Ooh, so we have an issue here with the appraisal and the loan. If an appraisal does not come back at the offer price, we have a few options. One option is that the seller may just decide to bring the sale price down to the appraisal price. So once a house has an appraisal, the house is pretty much stuck with that appraisal price. So it's not like they are going to put it back on the market. And unless someone is paying cash and they don't care about the appraisal and they just really want the home, even when someone ends up paying cash and there has been an appraisal that has come in low, they're probably not going to want to buy an asset that's not worth what they're paying for.
It's definitely not as easy as, oh, this appraisal came in low, let's just have the lender order another appraisal. Unless something is very, very wrong with the appraisal report, and it has to go through many different people looking at it in our compliance department to determine that, we are stuck using that appraisal. The seller might come down to that value, or if not, sometimes the seller and the buyer can choose to split the difference. So in this instance, maybe the seller doesn't think that they need to come down $25,000 that the appraisal came in low, but they're willing to come down $12,500 and meet the buyer in the middle. You will have to make sure that nothing will change with your loan with having to pay that extra funds though to make it up to the appraisal value. So definitely check with your lender if this is the case.
So Zoe, I have a question about this. So let's say a buyer is getting a loan and their home didn't appraise for what the offer was. Does any type of loan allow a buyer to meet the seller halfway for an appraisal gap?
Most loans do allow this. However, it will kind of depend on if the buyer's loan is set up so that they are able to pay that difference. If somebody was putting 20% down, they may have to have PMI because they're paying the difference between that appraisal. But I will say, if you are doing an MHGC, which is the Missouri Housing Grant, if you're doing an MHGC loan, they do not allow you to purchase the property for more than what it's actually worth. So you do want to check with your lender if you are deciding to split the difference.
The third option in this case, if your home does not appraise, is we can walk away. As long as we are within that appraisal contingency, we can just walk away, get your earnest money back, and find another home.
While this situation is obviously not ideal, it does happen every now and then that the home does not appraise for as much as the offer price or sales price is. Definitely work with your agent and your lender to determine the best route of action to move forward.
If you guys have any other questions about appraisals, please let us know. Drop a comment down below and we're happy to address anything. This is kind of confusing for buyers because this is kind of our world. And so you just might not know as much about these topics as we do. So we're happy to share all the information that we have.
Don't get discouraged if this does happen to you because you do have options.